Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ask a Hypnotherapist. My hostess with the mostest, Jazmin, is here. I'm doing the winging it introductions to episode 1, and there goes the freaking Zoom bot camera. For today's topic, we're going to talk about how we became hypnotherapists and how we decided to go on this very extra special journey of the subconscious mind.
And
hi, Jazmin.
Hi, Tanya. I'm so excited for our podcast.
I know, it's great.
I know. And I don't know if we've actually ever sat down and talked about each other's journeys of how we got here. So this is great.
This is great. A little background on us. We are both HMI graduates. We are clinical hypnotherapists, or I don't remember.
Certified hypnotherapist. So
it's on the wall.
It's right here. Woo! we are, yes. So our certifications will say clinical hypnotherapist. And then in most states we are considered certified hypnotherapist.
And this is because we didn't go to a weekend seminar to crawl into other people's subconscious minds. We actually hold this career very dear. And I think that is important when you guys are selecting a hypnotherapist out there. Check your credentials, because, we really do work with the subconscious mind. And unfortunately, it does not take a genius to get in there, because we're always programmed. And we'll go into that in another show. sorry to just jump in on that, but
we should probably tell them what HMI is. HMI stands for Hypnosis Motivation Institute, which is in California, and it is an actual Board of Education accredited college program, and there's not many in the world that are backed by the Board of Ed.
No.
So for me, I don't know for you, but for me, it was a year-long program with clinical hours.
So yeah, I wish I would have gotten it done in a year. I kind of went I didn't go at my own pace. I had a life emergency, so I was in there for a year and a couple months.
But that's they expect that, right? That
yes,
when we go into the program, everyone comes in a different point and goes at a different pace depending on their life circumstances.
Absolutely. And the good thing about HMI too is that it was such a thorough education, and they made sure that we knew everything on how to, help different people with different things. I mean, we did at least 1,000 hours of classwork, and
it was a lot. And
it was a lot.
Very thorough. So I have my bachelor's and my master's from the University of Florida, and I really felt like HMI did such a fantastic job with their program. I felt like a majority of those classes were akin to my graduate classes at UF.
Oh, wow.
It was legit. Like when I tried out HMI during that the first couple of weeks where you kind of like get to decide whether you want to stay or not. No, you don't have to pay anything. I saw how serious they were about the subconscious mind and the psychology behind it and the science behind it. I was already like overtaken. I was like, yes, this is legit. This is not like some crazy, creepy school that's like, yes, take my money.
Yeah, we're going to make you hypnotherapist in 3 days.
That's right. Go out.
Like, we're not even going to test you. Make sure you know.
No, it really is a wonderful program. So I think future hypnotherapists out there, HMI really is a place to go. And it's offered now online. Positive side of COVID, they translated their in-person program to an online program. So now they can reach everyone around the world.
And they also introduced their AOS program as well. So that's like if you wanted to go further with it. And I don't have the fancy University of Florida diploma on the wall. I was in the medical field. I was medical assistant for a long time, and I turned into a practice manager for a dermatologist. And so I was in practice management throughout my career. And I stumbled across HMI.
Okay, wait. So this is perfect. This is a great segue. So why don't we do Tanya's story today? So how did you stumble onto HMI?
So it was it was during a very trying time of my life. It was COVID, and my husband was just diagnosed with kidney failure and was going on dialysis. And I knew then and there that I had to find a way to financially support us and the lifestyle we were accustomed to.
Mhm.
And I wasn't going to cut that as a practice manager. Um, my husband is in the technology field. He so he did very well for himself. And I wanted something to where I was able to continue being in a healing position. I got very, very lucky while working in the medical field because I worked for a dermatologist who was a Buddhist, and she was Thai, and I got to go to Thailand with her. And
You went to Thailand?
I did. Went to Thailand with her.
You're gonna show me pictures
Um,
later.
no, I didn't take pictures. It was funny. I just was like in so much shock that I took maybe 5 pictures of that journey. It was pretty crazy.
That just means we go later and try
I
and
think that's a great idea. But what I really liked is that she was always about the quantum healing, and the way that she always handled her patients is that she didn't handle them with the whole, here, just take this pill and go. She, one of the things that we learn at HMI is body syndromes, and where things that are in your subconscious mind manifest on your body and manifest as disease. And that is another topic we will dive into on another day. But she always talked about your mindset can, heal you, or it can break you. It can make you, it can break you. And I had started a spiritual journey when I went to Colorado. And then when everything shut down and there was nothing to do, and I had time in quarantine, and I was scrolling through Facebook, and there was HMI, and I was like, a hypnotherapist.
so their Facebook ad got you.
The Facebook ad, it got me. And I scrolled past, I'm like, there's no way I can be a hypnotherapist. I'm like that. There's, like, who does that? I was really just shocked that there was a school for it, but I was like, wait a minute. My whole thing is when I moved to Colorado, I guess it's 7 years ago now, when I moved to Colorado, all I wanted to do, like, I just had a calling. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of people end up at HMI is because we have a calling to heal.
Yeah.
We have a calling to help. And I wanted to learn how to do Reiki. And I kind of got halfway through it. And while I was doing Reiki is when I saw that HMI ad, and I was into the whole trauma healing. I was into, like, how beautiful is it that we have the power to help somebody through the worst day of their life that affected them for the rest of their lives, and to take that pain away.
So
And
when you saw that ad, you had never actually been through hypnotherapy services yourself. Interesting.
Mario was the first person to hypnotize me ever. Mario was one of our instructors at HMI, and he was amazing. He enrolled me, and they handed me over to the financial services department, and they handled the student loan and everything. And I think I was in our first class like 4 days later.
Wow.
So I know. God, it seems like it was so long ago. It's like, what? It's been a couple years now. So that was how I got into HMI. That was my first exposure at hypnosis or hypnotherapy. But the biggest attraction to it is to minimize pain, minimize the subconscious patterns that we take out on ourselves, the things that happen to us. And that's what I thought was almost magical, is just taking that venom out of the snake bite. You never die from the snake bite, die from the poison. And our subconscious mind it can put us in patterns to where we create our own poison and drink it.
Yeah.
You know, by our patterns, by our routines, by how we feel about ourselves, by how we think. And to me, hypnosis and hypnotherapy was a really big comfort and a really great tool. So that's how I ended up in it. And
we can tell HMI that their ads are working.
Yes, definitely working. And you know what? So is their education.
Yeah.
I take a look back now on who I was when I first signed up for HMI, and they actually told us that on day one, you are not going to be the same person when you look back.
And they're so right.
Yes.
They're so right. I would not recognize the person I am now before I started that journey. So absolutely. They are
Very
correct.
cool.
You are correct.
So
Wow.
how about
Thank
you?
My story. So I was a special educator for many years, and to this day, I still love special education. I was kind of like at a high point of my career. I had just been honored with Teacher of the Year. I was thinking about furthering, maybe going back to school for a PhD, doing research, or perhaps going down the principal route. And COVID shutdown kind of happened, right? All the classes were brought at home. It was chaos, and it didn't really work for our specific population. So the type of students that I specifically ended my career with, that had been teaching for a few years, were the most severely disabled in our county.
Oh.
So to be in my classroom, you had to be considered extremely low intellectual disability, and you were nonverbal, and you had a physical impairment. So most of my kids were in wheelchairs, and you had to be medically fragile. And for anything, medical fragility means that they are prone to a lot of medical issues, and it was very common for our children not to make it to graduation.
Oh my goodness.
Which, it sounds really, really sad. We lost a student averagely like once a year.
Okay.
But I loved my job. I loved my kids, because I think because we knew that at any point a grand mal seizure could take them, or they would just not wake up the next day, right? Our goal every day was to make sure that they were happy the whole day, as much as we could, right? Like, yeah, we're trying to teach them to read and write. Okay.
But still, I love that they got to be children, and how special of you to make that a career,
We loved it. I loved it. I loved my team. But when COVID happened, they shifted everything at home, and those children and young adults were not able to do online learning. It just was physically impossible. It was impossible for their families. So they decided, out of the whole county, to bring a few of the classrooms actually back to the classroom. We were one of the few brick and mortar classrooms while everyone else was still online. But this caused even more chaos because, COVID had everything shifting every day, like rules and regulations and education. We're in there with like hazmat suits trying to teach these kids because we had no idea what COVID was. And our kids
I can't imagine what they I can't imagine. I'm sorry. I can't imagine what they thought of that. Like,
they thought we were crazy. Like, some of the kids laughed at us because they didn't understand, like, why are our teachers in crazy suits, So there was a chaos with that, which was also very, very stressful. But then because there was chaos and inconsistencies every day in the school systems, because regulations were changing every day, no one could keep up with it. Things started slipping through the cracks. And one of them was that a student was admitted into the school that should not have been admitted. She did not match the other children in my classroom that met those criterias. And eventually got to the point where this poor soul was having such severe hallucinations, visual and auditory hallucinations, that she would try to attack others, try to attack staff, try to attack herself, like harm herself. And one day, while trying to keep everyone safe, getting my kids' safety, the staff to safety, and trying to actually get this child to safety, even though they were in that state, I was assaulted and I was severely injured where I lost some mobility in my left arm.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, sometimes you see me like move, yeah. And but even with that, I still went back to work every day because I loved my job and I still wanted to help that student and try to find better placement. What it was chaos, right? But looking back now, I probably should have stopped then, because 2 weeks after my assault, I was rear-ended in a car accident outside the school before school, and it took out my neck and back. So I
had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I went from like a really healthy person that was on so many different committees in the school, pushing around several wheelchairs at once, lifting kids on like I was one of the people that would go after children that were AWOL, right? That would run out of school. Like I'd be like booking it. And then all of a sudden, in a 2-week frame, I lost function of my arm. I wasn't able to drive myself. I wasn't able to bathe myself. I wasn't able to dress myself. I wasn't, like, I had lost so much physical independence, plus the pain, plus now the trauma of the mental trauma of being assaulted, and still returning to that place of work every day in a place where all of a sudden now I was feeling very unsafe and still trying to work through, and the COVID trauma, right? Like it was like, bam,
bam. It was a lot. Thank God you found, look, I don't know how you found HMI, but thank God you did. You know, because
like I left teaching. I had to leave teaching because I had to take care of myself. For the first time in my life, I felt like I truly chose me. And it was scary. Yeah. And now all of a sudden I was lost because I was like I'm going to all these doctor appointments, set like 3 to 4 physical therapy appointments a week just for all these injuries, not on top of mental health therapy now, right? And I just prayed. I was like, give me 6 months. Please give me 6 months to figure out if I want to go back to teaching or find a new career that gives me equal or greater joy than teaching does. Because I don't think I could go back to teaching from what happened to me, right? And so in that 6 months, I worked my ass off. Ooh, I don't know if I can say that in podcast.
We can say whatever we want. We're hypnotherapist. This isn't the nuns channel.
No. I worked hard to get mobility back, but I also was thinking about, what am I going to do in the future? Like, what? I wanted to be a teacher forever. I worked my butt off to be a teacher and to be a really good one. And I started like experimenting with different things. And nothing was like giving me that joy. Like I may have found, for example, like I love to sew, right? But I found like if I try to do that for a job, I lost the joy for it. Yeah. Being creative just to be creative. And if I messed up while sewing, who cares?
You can always just rip the little threads out and go back over with the machine. It's good.
Ignore it. Go. I did. I tried so many different things and it just wasn't working. And I was at the 5-month mark and I was like, I guess I got to go back. And I wasn't happy with that. I was like, you know what? Well, fine. I got 1 month left. I'm going to do my bucket list. I looked at my bucket list, Tanya, and it was sad. It was a sad bucket list. There was nothing fun on that bucket list. It was more like a checklist of life. And I was like,
So was it more like, this is what I can do in case I don't find anything else that I can do list?
It was like, the list was like, graduate high school, graduate college, get a job. I was like, that's not a bucket list.
That's what we're programmed. And we'll talk about that another.
Yes.
Come back to Ask a Hypnotherapist. We'll tell you all about programming.
We'll talk about our program.
Because
Right?
we are also NLP practitioners too.
Oh my God. So girl, then I went on Pinterest and I was like, bucket list ideas. And one of them was past life regression with hypnotherapy. I had no idea what hypnotherapy was, but I was like, past life regression, that sounds cool. So I Googled, I love Google. I Googled the nearest hypnotherapist to me. And this lady was in Middleburg, Florida. She's in the middle of nowhere. I thought I lived in the middle of nowhere. She lives in the middle of nowhere. I live in Waldo, Florida. Like, where's Waldo? She lives in UFO country. Like, you so deep in the woods sometimes that you're like, that's a UFO. Like that, right? And so I was like, all right. So I booked a session with her. And
talk about trying something that scares you. I'm going to go all the way out to the middle of nowhere and get hypnotized.
I don't know. Usually that was not like.
It was not a red flag.
That was not me. But I was, something in my gut really said, don't worry, just do it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I sent everyone my location, by the way. But it turned out she was a very nice lady. She did the past life regression on me. It was my first time ever doing hypnosis. I had seen hypnotist shows, but it was my first time experiencing hypnotherapy. And it was so life-changing, that one session, how much I delved into myself, like my subconscious and a past life, which we can go into PLR later, like another future episode, right? Love PLR.
We'll have Alicia on for that too, because she's amazing at it.
Oh my God. I love all the different versions of PLR out there. The next day I called that lady back and I was like, how did you learn this? Because this is truly fascinating. It was the first time I felt on fire. Like, I felt on fire. Like, I just wanted to learn everything about what she did to me, or what I later learned what I did for myself through her guidance.
Yes.
And she said HMI. She was an
HMI graduate.
HMI graduate. And at the time, though, she had attended while it was only in person in California. But because of COVID, they had changed online. So I was like, okay, well, let me just look just in case. And I looked and I called them, and then the rest is history. Like, I got
nice. No, and I think it's so weird because, I have never said in my life, I want to grow up to be a hypnotherapist.
I never heard of one.
And I can't imagine doing anything else now. Like, quite honestly, because let me tell you, as a business, I'm grateful that I have practice management skills, like, I'm grateful that I used to run somebody else's practice. Because it's a lot to do. But the work is so rewarding, and it does kind of blow up your ego at the end of the day, because when everybody is like, oh my God, you've changed me so much. My whole life has changed since I met you. And, even because we're not necessarily supposed to work on our family and friends, because it's a secret. It's not something that we should always do, but even just the influence. And I've never hypnotized my best friend. I mean, she's seen me in my underwear, like, it's my best friend, when we're getting on boats and stuff in Florida and, changing our bathing suits or whatever. But there's a high esteem for a therapist and client, and that's a very big mutual respect and understanding. And when you have somebody that's your friend and you haven't really hypnotized them, you can kind of hypnotize them, because just when we talk and we keep talking and we keep talking, and it just kind of goes in there a little bit into the subconscious mind. That's how movies work. That's how comedians work. That's,
our next episode should be about, I think, what is hypnotherapy, right?
Yes.
And like even the misconceptions of it, because I think right? Even for us, when we started,
even for us,
we
as
didn't
I had
really
no idea.
understand. And then we learned how hypnosis is a natural. If I start now, I'll just go into the whole
Go
spiel.
for it. Let's just
No,
do it. Let's
no,
just dive
no.
in.
Next episode, stay tuned.
Yes. But all in all, we are HMI graduates, and
And we both
it
have
was,
businesses.
yes, we all both have our own practices, and it is the most fulfilling job that I've ever had. And I like the fact that I was in the medical field before. And the best thing about being in the medical field and running that practice for Dr. Benucci was that I got to see my patients heal. I got to see them come in with cuts and scars and rashes and skin cancers and moles and, just psoriasis, and watch them get medications and stuff. But I saw what she was doing with the clients with their mind. I saw what she was doing with getting them back into homeostasis. I saw what she was doing with asking them about their lives, because it wasn't about just what laundry detergent they were using. And it wasn't
It's not just
about,
about the physical self, it's
no,
the mind-body connection. And so that
yeah.
doctor was able to balance both to be able to help their clients.
Hmm. And then I would translate, because she was a Thai lady married to an Italian man that lived in Puerto Rico. So he spoke Italian and Spanish. And so I was her translator for whenever we had Spanish patients when she couldn't speak Spanish all the way. And the questions that I would have to ask the patients, and she had like a sixth sense for it, because a lot of people that are like in hypnosis as hypnotherapists and just, guidance counselors, we just have a thing to where we care deeply,
This is the
and
helping field, right? We're in the field of helping others. We're not supposed to say heal, right?
no,
But in a way, we are in a similar field where we are assisting others,
we
helping.
facilitate healing.
There you go. Thank
We
you.
really do facilitate healing. And the reason is because you heal yourself. We don't do it, and that's one of the things, even as hypnotherapists trying to go out there to find hypnotherapy clients, if you're not ready for the medicine, you're not ready to heal yet, and that's why I think it's fabulous when people are really looking for, and they're serious about their results, and they're serious about their healing, and they know it's time to do something different when their lives are just falling apart.
Yeah. I tell my clients that just by calling me and doing that consultation, you have done 50% of the work.
Yeah.
Because you're ready.
It is recognition of, because you're not sick. It's not like a cold. You're not, you don't want to do it anymore. You don't want to eat that or don't want to drink that, or there's just something that you're tired of doing in your life. There's just a pattern that you just like are so over it. And, but that is one of the things I love about this job, is that because it's a job some days.
It's behind the stuff scene.
Yeah.
All the
No,
stuff
but
I'm
joking, but I'm not, because it really is about you. Like, we're called to give the messages, we're called to help, but you really do all the work yourself. And
we guide, right? I tell the clients all the time, I'm like, you're doing the work, this is your subconscious mind. You go wherever you need to go. I'm here to guide you. I don't make you do anything. I don't mind control you. It's not some kind of like, ooh, I'm a puppeteer. Like, no, you're doing amazing work. And I'm always so proud of every client at the end of it.
Because it's hard. It's hard when you have to call bullshit on yourself.
When your subconscious mind is like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, like, no, we're gonna eat the little Debbie's. It's gonna be fine. You can stay miserable for 5 more years. It's great. No, and quite literally, I don't know necessarily that I found HMI and I found hypnotherapy because I needed to do it as a career. I needed hypnotherapy to heal as a human being, as a
I
woman, as a wife, as a mother,
yes,
especially as a daughter.
yes.
So,
There was so
and
much healing for ourselves while going through the program.
yes.
It's like, oh
Oh my
my God.
goodness.
Yeah,
Oh, it was and once you get on that spiritual journey, once you get on that path, and I'm not saying that you have to be a spiritual person to
right.
do hypnosis, it's for any, any belief system that you have. You could be Catholic, you could be Protestant, you could be Jewish, you could be whatever
Atheist.
your higher power is, as long as you believe in something bigger than you're going to do fine, and even if you don't, as long as you believe in yourself and in your healing, you can do fine. But I really honestly believe that hypnotherapy saved my life. And I had no idea that it was so much more than what I thought it was, hypnosis. And we can at least do the whole, like, what's the difference between hypnosis and hypnotherapy? My Ozbot's going off again. I got a new camera, y'all, and it like does things, and I talk with my hands. So
I have a feeling that every one of our podcasts is gonna be like an hour long. We're like, by the way, guys, at the beginning of this podcast, we're like, yeah, maybe like 20-30 minutes, max.
yeah, sure, it's great.
Then you get two Latinas trying to talk. I'm like,
Right? It's like, no, we're gonna go all the way in. But
yes, okay. So let's do the difference between hypnosis and hypnotherapy, and then
okay.
we'll close. And then you guys got to come back next time and follow us, and we'll tell you where to follow.
Before we do, what was the greatest thing about you finding hypnosis and hypnotherapy in your life? What has hypnotherapy been? What's the greatest gift that you received regardless of wherever we went to school, regardless of anything else? What was the greatest thing that hypnotherapy has done for your life?
I feel it's really similar to yours. For me, so I had done traditional therapy and I still do traditional talk therapy, but hypnotherapy opened up my world to all the different healing modalities are out there, and I try them all now because I feel like they're all cousins to each other. They're all going for the same goal, right? For self-improvement, for a better life, a better me. And there's just different ways of getting there. So hypnosis and hypnotherapy really opened my mind, my heart to so many different things, and it has allowed me to continue growing. So not only do I still see my own hypnotherapist, but I know how to do self-hypnosis now, and I try out other healing modalities. I don't know, it's just like a continuous growth process. Whereas I think before HMI, before the assault, my life was stagnant and I didn't even realize it. I was stuck in the same loop over and over and over again, not realizing that I had the ability to break out by changing my subconscious mind. I didn't even know about my subconscious mind.
No, that was the biggest thing too. I was like, what?
No idea.
I'm not using all of my brain. Like,
yeah, I thought I had self-reflection skills, but I really didn't. It was minimum, right? And now I am expanding and I am learning, and I'm so proud of the person that I am now, and that I am continuously to be. And I would not have been able to say that a couple years ago.
No. And I remember her first class on self-care.
Still a process.
And you know what? It was that was the thing too, is just that I didn't realize how poorly I took care of myself until I was introduced with hypnotherapy. And we don't realize how deep we are into our own head until you like get that bounce out of like present moment. You're like, whoa.
Present moment. What's the present moment? Yeah, I thought I was.
Who put that building there? I've never seen that before. I've literally driven past places that I was like, is that there? You are so stuck in your own mind and in your own paradigm and in your own programs that you can't even see outside of yourself. So that was like huge.
Big.
And we're always going to need hypnotherapy. And that's the other thing I really love about it too, is that we are always self-healing. We are, for as long as you've lived, you got that much to heal. You could be 40 years old, but you got 40 years of healing to do. So
if you stop, if you think like, oh, I'm complete, I'm done, you're wrong.
Yeah.
There's always more. There's always more.
So much.
And I think that's the beauty of life, right?
Yes.
And
the other thing too is that there's so many different kinds of hypnotherapists, and that's why I mentioned the self-care, is because she's an amazing self-care instructor. And it is something that it was really hard at first to kind of come to terms with. And it's when we're in our community together and we find out like, oh, you're struggling with that too, or oh, you did that, or oh, I noticed this. And it's just, we build off of our experiences, and we teach off of our experiences. And that's what I love now, is that yes, we went to school together and everything, but we're partnering up now because we want to teach. We want you guys to know how wonderful this tool is and how important self-healing is. So thank you, Jazmin, for hosting and putting all this together. And I love it.
I did to start with. I was like, yeah, we should do this. And I'm like, yeah, we should do this.
Yeah, I really do.
That sounds nice. Let's do it. So this is perfect. So wait, do you want to go into hypnosis versus hypnotherapy, or should we end and then do that? What you want?
Oh, no. How long are we on?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Oh, okay. You know what? I think the difference between hypnosis and hypnotherapy is an amazing topic. And I believe that is one that we can definitely go forever on, because there is a big difference. And
that's right, because this podcast was about how we became hypnotherapists.
Yep. How we have been subconscious superheroes.
That's really nice. Tagline.
But thank you, everybody, for joining and liking and following, and we'll see you again.
Yeah, you guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We're gonna be posting our podcast, boom, 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 in a bunch of places. We got to decide where we're gonna post the podcast officially. So we'll get back to you guys later on that. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment. And I think it'd be great if you guys can also comment maybe questions that you have for us. Or
yes, we love answering questions.
Yeah, imagine like each question could be a podcast episode. We can mention you. You may.
Sounds great. And you know what? I think eventually we will probably do a live demonstration of a hypnosis. Yeah, definitely that. So we're gonna hypnotize some people. Yeah. So feel free to send in your requests. But yes, any questions you might have. And thank you guys for tuning in. Jazmin, thank you for hosting.
Thank you, Tanya.